Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
Yeah, we realize we're overdue for an update.
We are.
And as we tell you right now why, you'll realize why there hasn't been an update. Because in 5 minutes, we were supposed to be leaving for your preoperative MRI.
Because I was supposed to have my surgery
Tomorrow morning.
Right?
You were supposed to be starting to do pre-op, everything tonight, rinses and all of that.
Yep.
So Ed was scheduled tomorrow, and was scheduled yesterday, and was scheduled prior to that. Never scheduled, but was supposed to be on the calendar for a MRI guided laser ablation for the areas that they found when he had the seizure.
Right, which very quickly is a small surgery that kind of, I guess it's like a little pin size thing.
It's like a pencil size bracket they'll put in to help guide the probe that fires the laser. So it's minimally invasive.
Compared to my last surgery, which was all of this.
And there is still, risk of some more language issues for you, some more vision loss.
That's been my fear, but...
What they discovered, to kind of give you all an update, is it was a combination of, again, what they thought was recurrence when he had the seizure. We made them order another MRI when everything was taking forever. We couldn't get anything moving forward after his seizure, problem number one. And they ordered the MRI, and they decided it was a combination of necrosis from the radiation, so just brain tissue dying after the radiation, and a probable recurrence of a small area of tumor in that greater field of necrosis.
Right.
So the possible options to treat that, both of them the same, would be that ablation.
Yeah,
so
they go in and they just, did you just say what it was?
Yeah, they just burn it with MRI.
I'm processing it as you're saying it sometimes, but yeah.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit to why we're both scatterbrained now. In 3 minutes, we were supposed to leave for his MRI, as we mentioned. They called us about a half hour ago. His insurance still hasn't processed the authorization for the procedure, which includes the preoperative MRI. As I also mentioned, we were supposed to have the surgery on Tuesday. Well, when they went to process the insurance authorization, Cigna seemed to have somehow terminated our coverage in error, and they owned up to it right away and immediately got to work to reinstate it. It took 2.5 days to reinstate it, so the procedure had to be moved. So right now, Ed's surgery keeps getting moved time and time again. We're scrambling time and time again when every single doctor involved in his care said, do not wait to have this laser ablation because necrosis can be progressive. You want to get the biopsy if there's a tumor in there.
Right.
Don't wait, unless of course the insurance company doesn't process things in time.
Right, so it boils down to the, obviously way back when they first caught this, which was when
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Which was a while ago now. It was sort of, we should get this done ASAP. And multiple doctors, with all the doctors we were talking to in different hospitals in different states, were all saying basically ASAP. ASAP, ASAP, ASAP.
You might even, all of you know who have been waiting for this update. We were moving to Phoenix during Christmas and New Year's. In 10 days, I was going to have us moving to the mainland, which we still have plans for clinical trials following the surgery, because the surgery would all be the same, but we were ready to jump and do whatever needed to be done. Well, just to bring you up to speed on that, thank goodness we didn't move in those days, because our visits went to virtual with both Mayo Clinic and Barrow Neuro in Phoenix.
Which is good.
And when we got on the call with the doctors, they had none of Ed's MRI discs. I ordered them with ample time. They're our responsibility to get, yet we can't facilitate any of it. None of them were there.
No.
Not from a single hospital.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, so we did everything. So could you imagine if we had actually completed that move? So we looked at that as, okay, those had to be some sort of signs that were making us, put the brakes on and check. And Ed and I have gotten to spend extra time now together enjoying Hawaii with the dogs. We found that the procedure was pretty much the same anywhere we would go, this first round of the ablation, and that we could safely stay in Hawaii where we feel comfortable with the COVID precautions. Even the surgeons and team at Mayo said the only thing they could offer us was they do it more often, but they agree with our COVID-related decisions to just stay here since there is a qualified neurosurgeon who does it here.
Sure, and they actually fly someone here to supervise.
Yes, they bring out software technicians because they also are pushing the cutting edge of the software they use for doing this type of robotic procedure.
So ultimately it would just made sense to us. Why would we not stay 20 minutes from home. The second I get out of surgery, I can be in recovery here.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So we were going to look.
I just feel like we never even read.
We haven't updated on any of that.
Yeah, so there's that.
There's that update of what's been going on. So since then, we've been trying to get appointments scheduled, get insurance to do things, and everything just like the move to Phoenix keeps getting 90% of the way there, and the last piece doesn't come through. And then the last piece doesn't come through. And Ed and I have everything lined up for where to look for the clinical trials from Houston to Yale to California, Cedars-Sinai you were talking about. Yeah. We have these things ready to go, but the first line is the surgery.
And that I also want to point out is because of people who have donated. It's kind of given us that
our boundaries are not as strict as they have.
We're not saying, oh my gosh, how would we afford doing this? How could we? It does give us that. And
so in this moment, I do want to just interrupt you to say thank you to all of you. Because of that, and because we didn't move to Phoenix, we now don't have restrictions on where we go for clinical trial opportunities.
Right.
And something that we never said along the way, and we always have in the back of our minds, is whatever might be left over at the end of this, we donate that back to this cause as well, to help other people down the road do what we needed to go through.
Right.
So thank you all for believing in us to support us through this.
Oh yeah, we've had some tears just thinking about.
We were crying before we got on the camera.
People have.
Yep.
Yeah.
So something we toss out there, and I'm not looking for an answer from anyone. You'll probably strangle me as I say this, but we have to look at this as a sign. And I don't know how many of you out there in our extended family universe there are following us from our Disney, or following us from our travel, or following us from cancer, and specifically brain cancer. But if you're tuned in to anything right now that's going on in the world of brain cancer and things like that, we almost feel like we've been paused again. And we're not religious people. We are spiritual, but we believe in science first. But sometimes you just get thrown so many curveballs that you have to pause and say, what am I missing here? Yeah. We're wondering if we're missing an opportunity for Ed to be involved in something more than just the standard of care surgery right now.
Right. It's one of those things, like you said, we're neither believers nor naysayers or somewhere. We just, we're open to life. But it is one of those weird things. It's why do you get 99% of the way and then something keeps stopping us?
And something we couldn't have controlled.
Right. And something that is relatively routine, even though it sounds scary to us that they're going to be putting things in my skull. Mm-hmm. And yet little things like our insurance that has been fine all along, and all of a sudden it's just like, boop.
Oh, and we all know tomorrow morning the insurance is going to approve it. Right. But we're sitting here right now with the surgery already canceled for tomorrow.
Second time.
Wondering, so I'm asking you out there in the world, and we're not looking at, kind of the little bit more out there ideas and thoughts. We're wondering if anyone is in Louisville or is in Oklahoma City or is somewhere around the country that we haven't looked at, that if you're aware of something going on in brain cancer research, please shoot us a direct message, leave a comment down below, something. We're open to looking into all options for not only Ed to get better treatment, if that's even an option, it might not be, but Ed to be a component of them finding better answers for people in the future. Yeah. So something we keep saying to his surgeons and treatment team is, Ed also wants to make sure in the clinical trials that he might engage in, even if it doesn't necessarily benefit him, if it can help someone in the future by him being part of it.
That's my main thing is nobody lasts forever. Like, eventually we're all going to move on in life. And it's just one of those things like, is there something that we can do? And I think we may have talked about this in a last video too, is there something we can do that might not benefit me directly, but might benefit some other family, some other person with research? And that's one of the things we've been saying, I think, since the first video about this was, what research person can study my brain? Because in fact, there are a couple of things that were interesting that might help so that somebody else doesn't go through what we're going through.
Yep.
That's been my stance. And that really my stance on anything.
Me as well. So there's really two things we'll leave you with today in this update. Three things. Number one, we owed you an update. It has been absolutely insane in our household trying to deal with this. Let's also realize I keep taking off work. Got to do pre-test. No pre-test. Got to do I have a job too. Number two, we wanted to talk about, Ed's involvement and connect with all of you to see if there's more out there, because we feel like we've been given a sign to tap our resources again with this delay. Ed may be rescheduled for surgery next week, but we want to make sure we use this break to spend time together again, but also make sure that the decisions we already made were the right ones. In a matter of weeks, something else could have come about that we're just not in tune to. So all of you out there, we're reaching out to you for, if you know of anything, send it our way. And the third thing is, I want to take this opportunity as someone who spent their prior life. So those of you who follow me also know that I'm an architect now. My previous life and professional world, in 2 states, was healthcare administration and fighting with insurances for patients who needed MRIs to diagnose rare conditions. I don't take this lightly. And I know there's a lot of narrative around healthcare right now. And whichever side of it you might be on, I want everyone to know our healthcare system is broken. The fact that that's a nice way to say it. We're a family channel, so I'm going to stick with that word. But the fact that multiple doctors have given Ed their advice, which included don't wait. Every single time the doctors are disappointed to have their staff let us know we don't have an authorization and can't move forward. Because again, this isn't a small surgery where we can sign the waiver and fight with it after the fact. This is probably well over $100,000 of technology and people and resources.
It's nothing.
Again, it should have cost $100,000. Let's not go down that road. But that's why we have insurance. That's why I pay for it. That's why all of us do that. This is not an acceptable outcome of that framework of our society. Socialism, whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter. We shouldn't be delayed from the standard of care in both radiation necrosis and possible recurrent brain cancer. This is what everyone prescribes. The World Health Organization gives it as the second line of defense, and we can't get the insurance company to approve it. There's something wrong.
Right.
And they haven't denied it, they just don't approve it fast enough. Why do you need to take time to approve it when all of the doctors know this is the standard of care they're supposed to proceed with?
Right, because in all those months, what if it's already progressed just that far that it's too late?
Where the MRI today would have shown it's really not accessible the same way anymore.
And that's how fast sometimes these things go.
Yep. Let's not forget, from when we were telling you we were moving to us finally getting here and Ed having a seizure was 4 months. 4 months it went from nothing to something.
Yeah, I mean, 4 months is a long time. You know, if you were pregnant, 4 months is a big amount of time.
But it's also
gestation.
not.
Right.
That's the whole thing.
It is. A lot changes in 4 months.
Yep. So we leave you there. We will keep you updated. We figured in the minutes following us hanging up the phone with the doctor's office, we just needed to get on this camera right now and share with you why we haven't updated you. So we know we owed you to an extent after all of the support you gave us. We didn't even have a time to catch a breath. And now you all know why. And those of you that follow with us closely and are our friends out there, in addition to our followers and friends, you were all getting ready to pray for Ed tonight when you woke up tomorrow on the East Coast, and we're not going in for surgery now.
Nope.
We have told that to too many people too many times now. I'm tired of sending that text message and phone call.
100%.
I can't amp up for a surgery. I'm getting broken down a little bit each time, getting this house ready for Ed to come home, then not. Getting ready to come.
Sure.
How many times am I supposed to do that to myself? I don't know. So that is the news from here.
Yeah.
So we will keep you updated, everybody. I cannot believe this is actually where we close this video right now.
Well, we'll close it by saying thank you again. Also, take care of yourselves.
Yes.
If there's little inklings in your body that says, something's not right, also please pay attention to that, because sometimes things get away from you and it's already too late and you want to. I'm just saying, if you have that question in yourself too, please reach out to a doctor, because you don't want to be in a situation where we could have done something and we didn't. So
yep, and we might be there by consequence of insurance company. So be proactive, advocate for yourself. It's why we share this with you, so you have that knowledge that things do go wrong.
Yeah.
But thank you again for all of you always being there for us, your support. Every time we just see a comment pop up or something on our Instagram, or we've been thinking about you, so glad to see you post. That means the world to us.
It really does.
So we have been meaning to pay that back to you with this update, and there it is. It's not the update we necessarily wanted to give, but it could be a much better update, and it could be a much worse update.
That's true.
So if you have resources, connect us, and feel free to shoot us info on anything you might know going on in brain cancer in the world around you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. I will again link to our information about the funds we were raising, because like I said, even if we don't use it, we will donate it to causes that we find useful along the way whatever's left over. So feel free to join this fight with us. We are happy to have you along.